bobo, nana bobo, tutti potei fa nana e l'alliviano. Nana bobo, nana bobo, tutti potei fa nana e Giuseppe no.
Continue to walk, but we are creating this network of roots. It's a light touch, and maybe we even touch more people at the same time while we keep on passing. And through this root system there is information. And really see what the information is from the other body. Is there a small movement that maybe moves into your body? Maybe it makes you move differently.
Sai che i papà vedi sono alti, 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 sei nata paperina, che cosa ci vuoi fare?
My name is Mia Habib. I am based in Oslo, Norway. I work as a dancer and choreographer. And I have in the past worked with several different groups of non-dancers in different ages. I have also worked with a company in Norway with elderly people, and in Freiburg, long time ago, also with people with Parkinson's. So that's also in a way my connection to the Dance Well project here in Bassano. During this period in Bassano, I am working with a group on a score called How To, a score. It's a score I have developed based on a project called How to Die. The score touches on many topics of, in a way, of ecological grief, our relationship to nature, our relationship to something else than the human, but also our relationship to the past and to the future. So it's also touching this idea of imagining different futures together. And here in Bassano, I'm really going deeper into the idea of touch, the touch of each other, being together, touching the past, touching the future. What is it to touch the audience, both physically and metaphorically? So this idea of touch and togetherness is what I'm circulating around here with this amazing group of dancers.
La prima cosa che mi ha colpito è stata la creazione di una comunità con persone che forse fuori da un discorso di danza, da un discorso artistico, non avrei potuto conoscere perché frequentiamo ambienti diversi, perché abbiamo età diverse, tempi diversi e e non ci eravamo mai incrociati. Mi sono chiesta se li avessi visti fuori da questo contesto, cosa avrei pensato, se avrei dato loro ascolto come ne ho dato invece ai loro corpi quando ci siamo messi a lavorare insieme. Mi è piaciuto lavorare con i dancer fin dal primo momento perché c'era un'intenzione molto diretta. Questa è la prima volta che partecipo a una coreografia proposta ai dancer di Bassano e ho trovato che fossero veramente già molto esperti, che fosse un piacevole lavorare con loro perché sembrano molto collaudati. Questo mi ha fatto piacere perché dà sicurezza e nello stesso tempo mi ha fatto sentire parte di un gruppo che capivo che funzionava, ecco.
So I knew that I was going to work with a group that has a lot of lived experience in their bodies, and now meeting them also, I would say, who carries a lot of wisdom. So I wanted to enter a lot through the idea of memory, both through the sensorial, so what memories come out when you work, for example, with branches coming from trees, working with leaves, which is also part of the score. But what it evokes of memories also from childhood. We're going through children's songs and the memories of songs from the past and the stories that connect to these songs. So this has been our entrance also before I arrived, where the dancewell teacher Ilaria has been working with them already. And a part of this work is also that they are writing, which their writings is becoming or will become a part of what we call the living archive, which is also part of how to score. So it's this idea, how do we archive the process, and how can that living archive become a kind of an installation or exhibition that the audience can meet. So when the audience arrives, there is the piece, but there is also this insight into the process and into all these stories behind.
The idea is to bring some of the feelings, some of the ghosts of a process, what happened in a space. It can be in the shape of image, video, sound, but ideally it's not educational, but it is a hosting situation, opening up something that usually audience when encounter a performance or a dance, they don't get access to.
I was involved in the process as a photographer. So basically my task was to create a living archive. But I'm also a dancewell teacher, so that allowed me to enter the project really smoothly, and that created a lot of a trust between me and dancers, because we already had this trust.
The main word for me was the touch. So it talks a lot about relationships, about building the community, about being in a forest, about touching trees, touching each other. And that was something I was always searching for.
And so they were so open for me to create this archive, and they gave me all the possibilities to do that.
I'm Ilaria, I'm a dancewell teacher. I've been involved as an assistant in Mia's project. First of all, I had this meeting with Mia in March, and for me it was very important knowing her by person, because I didn't know her practice and I need to meet her and to try to enter deeply in what she was doing in that moment. So by understanding what the practice was, I also had some, let's say, tools to then propose the practice with a group of dancers here in Bassano. And knowing the group already was important for me to have like an access to then find my strategy to pass through these informations that were a lot. The strategy was only to be honest with Mia, to trust her and to trust myself in knowing, let's say, the group, and trust the group in the end.
Il mio corpo, da quando lavora con gli immaginari di dancewell, ha preso più tempo per capirsi, prende più tempo per esplorare dei gesti, si giudica molto meno, mi sento molto meno giudicata da me stessa. sento meno il giudizio sul corpo, non solo quando danzo con gli altri, ma anche quando sono da sola in casa. Come dice Roberto, si riscopre la propria eccellenza a un altro livello. E sì, questo è il regalo di Dansuel, un'eccellenza fisica che sta da un'altra parte rispetto a quella dove stavamo prima tutti quanti, quando pensavamo ai corpi, tra virgolette, normali. E forse l'altra cosa che sento con il corpo è la necessità di trovare un'espressività tutta mia, un vocabolario tutto mio, e anche questo mi viene da Dansuel, nel senso che è un'esigenza che non avrei immaginato di sentire prima.
And you invite one of the people sitting to hold your branch. The performance has really evolved a lot since the residency, and I left them in June. And when I came back, it was so clear that it had been like landing in their bodies. And I'm actually really impressed because I think the performance is so much about listening and listening to the moment and listening to each other and to the audience and taking that time. And the performance has really landed there now, and I feel that it has landed in them and in the group, and that they're able to listen and take time. So I just had a feedback from one of the dancers today, and she said it so beautifully. She said that she would never have imagined that she would be able to pass through and pass very close to the audience, because a part of the performance they're passing through the audience very close, and in the end of the performance they're coming and they're blowing vibration into branch very close to the audience with their mouth. And she was emphasizing that it's so beautiful with dance that suddenly in a creative process you find yourself in a situation with an audience that you would not imagine in advance. So this kind of feedback for me is very valuable, and I think it also goes for professional dancers. It certainly goes for myself as a dancer and as an artist. And for me, I think it's also this, to meet the audience with this big group and to see how the performance meeting the audience becomes a sharing and it becomes a meeting. And towards the end of the performance, we're all ending up in 3 to 4 circles, singing the Italian children's song, Giro Giro Tondo, where for a moment it's becoming a new community, a community of the audience and the dancers for a little moment. And that's something I cherish a lot.
From this experience, I really learned how to trust my ability of being able of improvising during the classes, because I go deeply into the listening of the group.
Working with Mia Habib was really useful for me as for danceful teacher, because I had a lot of opportunity to observe. So while I was doing pictures, I saw all the these transparent connections. I saw her way to communicate with dancers, to deal with the cultural difference, to deal with the language, to deal with the no and yes, to deal with the different opinions in the group, and to create something which will make all the people connect.
Dunque, io sembro molto tranquilla fino a un attimo prima e poi quando vado in scena mi emoziono moltissimo. In parte anche la tenuta emotiva del Parkinson, nel senso che fa parte del pacchetto invasivo il fatto di essere più reattivi, più emotivi, di trattenere meno le emozioni. Devo dire che è un aspetto che non mi dispiace, però è un lavoro da fare anche questo sull'imbarazzo, nel senso che se poi ti commuovi mentre sei in scena, devi gestire un aspetto in più. Però andare in scena con un gruppo è un'attenzione continua al gruppo e quindi senti sulla pelle le emozioni anche degli altri e questo è una specie ti fa diventare un amplificatore.
There is an enormous warmth and also it makes me reflect a lot about how lived life, the scars maybe that you get through life or the difficult memories that we also talk a lot about in this process. And how they also, in a way, can make you just a wiser and warmer and more loving person. And I feel this very much from them. And it makes me see my own journey differently and think about life like in an empowered way. And then also, I think there is something about the energy of going and playing with what we're doing. So there is a playfulness. And then I really like, well, you can play all your life. And this I'm really learning.
Dancewell per me è diventato un riferimento nella rilettura del mio corpo e della mia attività anche artistica. Quando ho cominciato ad avvicinarmi trovavo che fosse ottimo per affrontare il Parkinson. Poi ho tolto la parola affrontare, ho pensato che non è una questione di affrontare, ma è una questione di trovare un nuovo modo per vivere il proprio corpo. Dancewell mi ha dato degli ottimi strumenti, adesso è diventato per me un punto di forza e di ricerca creativa e che mi permette di incontrare persone meravigliose con cui sono in contatto anche dentro un immaginario, ecco, con cui posso condividere un immaginario e questo mi piace ancora più di quanto mi immaginassi all'inizio.